and a bit about how actually I got the idea for the local agency.
Mm.
So we were actually working with it was an e-hailing company that was trying to expand its footprint into the African markets. So they had recently expanded South Africa and they were hoping to go east. So they were going
Okay.
to go into they were going to Tanzania, specifically Dar es Salaam, and that's where we were going to start. Um, and we'd come up with so it was basically a 360 campaign, but we were going to start off with like a on the ground kind of campaign, which is we were going to start like with a normal activation. So we were going to get like promoters on the ground. They were going to hand out brochures.
Yeah. Like you did
Basically,
for VW.
yes, exactly that. So we're going to hand out brochures, and we'd like picked out like these high traffic zones
Mm.
in Dar es Salaam. So we had like taxi ranks,
Okay.
some malls and stuff, and we had like we'd printed like 2,000 something of these flyers, and we got these promoters. I think we had about a team of about 20, and we put them all over the city, and they were supposed to hand out brochures. So uh, day one goes the campaign. We get these guys, they hand out these brochures, and the campaign doesn't go well, so we don't get like good feedback.
Mm.
And I remember we called the guys in and we're like, hey, so you know, we gave you guys like 1,000 brochures, but you know, you didn't even hand out half. And then when they're like, well, look, you guys gave us these brochures, but they're in English. Even
Ooh.
though, you know, in terms of legislation wise, the official language is English, but the people on the ground don't normally use English. They use English in courts. They might use English in the business world, but
Yeah.
the everyday people that are catching taxis and the way they communicate, English is not their first language.
Mm.
It should
Mm.
be in
Mm.
Swahili.
Swahili. So
And
yeah. Swahili.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and and that's where the light kind of went off in my head. I was like, a lot of brands make the same mistake where, especially a lot of brands coming out the west or the east, um, they want to play in the African space, but they don't know necessarily how to communicate directly with their audiences.
Yeah.
Um, they tend to come up with, you know, they'll sit in an office in New York or St. Petersburg or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come up with an idea for a campaign and then put they'll throw the campaign they'll throw the campaign into the market, um, not understanding that Africa is very diverse and it's very nuanced.
Yeah.
The same campaign you use in Dar es Salaam is not necessarily going to translate in Cape Town or Johannesburg or Gaborone. The the campaign needs to speak to its own kind of like local audiences.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea for a local agency came up. I
Very
was like,
good.
okay, I can be like the bridge between some of these brands and the people on the ground, just
Yeah.
helping them really understand who the people they're trying to talk to and how they need to be talking to them.
Yeah.
And understanding like small things like, hey, the people in this region actually don't have iPhones. They're all on Androids. So if you're gonna build an app, make sure it's Android friendly.
Android. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit about who I am.
Wow. It's interesting. You see, the kind of work you do, you get to understand people.
Yeah, in a bit.
It's very important because uh, if you don't understand people, then you can't promote anything to them. Yeah.
Exactly.
And for me, I like people uh, working with young Africans.
Yeah.
I've understood better how diverse Africa is.
Yeah.
And I talk about it a lot. Most people do not understand how diverse it is.
Yeah.
Even
Like in
see,
Nigeria alone, there's over 100 languages.
okay. See,
Yeah.
we're in Nigeria, we talk about over 200 languages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's and every area with a different language, there's a different culture. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. What we see in the public domain is the urban African Nigerian culture,
Yeah.
mostly Lagos urban culture.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very different if you go to Ibadan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, across the country, there are differences, even
Yeah.
in the urban spaces. So it's
Yeah.
Africa is just a big market that is just being discovered
Yeah.
by Africans. Okay,
Exactly.
before we talk about the foreigners. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.